किसी चीज के उम्मीदवार का हम कोई दावेदारी नहीं। 14 में जो आए 24 तक के आगे रह पाएंगे कि नहीं रह पाएंगे वो अपना समझ।
उनके लोग आए, हमारे नेताओं से मिले और कहा कि नीतीश जी को उपराष्ट्रपति बना दीजिए, बिहार में आप सरकार चलाइएगा आप लोग।
श्रद्धेय अटल जी का और उस समय के सब लोगों का जो प्रेम था उस चीज को हम कभी भूल सकते कितना अच्छा था।
ये लड़े अकेले, इनका जनाधार नहीं, अकेले लड़ेंगे तो इनको 5 या 6 सीट ज्यादा नहीं आएगा, ये मेरा चैलेंज।
A face and a contender, lot of parties and lot of leaders have to come together, they have to agree, and that itself in turn is a function of your own popularity among the masses, your acceptability.
It is Nitish 8.0. For the 8th time, Nitish Kumar took oath as Bihar Chief Minister today, with the RJD's Tejwaswi Yadav taking oath as his deputy. The new Mahagathbandhan is now firmly in place, but will it be different this time? Right after the swearing in, Nitish Kumar took a swipe at Prime Minister Narendra Modi, saying, "Ask the person who came to power in 2014 if he will still win in 2024. He also claimed his alliance with the BJP in 2020 damaged his party and that he did not want to become Chief Minister after that election. Well, the BJP has hit out strongly at Nitish today, calling him an opportunist and even saying that he was interested in becoming Vice President but walked away from the alliance when he wasn't given that post. The bigger political question, though, is whether Nitish Kumar can emerge as a possible prime ministerial contender for a united opposition in 2024, or whether that's become a tougher task with so many aspirants for the same job, and also Nitish himself seeing his party on a gradual decline in Bihar over the last many years.
हमको किन्हीं पर कुछ नहीं कहना है।
सर 2024 के प्रधानमंत्री पद के उम्मीदवार होंगे आप?
नहीं, हम किसी चीज के उम्मीदवार का हम कोई दावेदारी नहीं।
आपके कार्यकर्ता
लेकिन इतना तो जरूर कर दीजिए ना कि 14 में जो आए 24 तक के आगे रह पाएंगे कि नहीं रह पाएंगे वो अपना समझ।
इस गठबंधन के टूट के लिए किसको जिम्मेदार मानते हैं?
चंदा वो है ही हमारे पार्टी के सब लोगों से पूछिए, जो अप्रोच था जिनके साथ थे उनके साथ जो अप्रोच था, आप सोच ना लीजिए भाई 3 में 2 अलगे ना हो गए। तो जो उनका व्यवहार और जो कुछ भी चुनाव में जो अप्रोच था, अपने दल के सब लोगों को ये फीलिंग है कि ठीक नहीं है। हम लोगों के लोगों ने उनको सपोर्ट किया और उनकी तरफ से जेडीयू को हराने ही की सब बात हो गई। सबसे पूछिए, हम तो तब तक कुछ नहीं, हम तो चाहते भी नहीं थे बनना, लेकिन हमको लोगों के मान लिया। अब लेकिन अब जो पार्टी के सब लोगों से बात होती रही, सबके मन में था नहीं, तो फिर हम लोग चले गए अपना।
Well, joining us on NDTV now is Union Power Minister R.K. Singh, who is a Member of Parliament from Bihar. Mr. Singh, thank you very much for joining us. Let me first get your detailed thoughts on why Nitish Kumar chose to exit this alliance with the BJP at this time. Do you see it purely as opportunism? Because the JDU claims there was a concerted effort to break the party by the BJP.
No, Niti, I see it as simple opportunism, politics without principles, politics only for power. And what power? And my assessment is that somebody told him that he can be prime minister material, and that probably went to his head or something. You see, basically, this is an excuse that the BJP was trying to break his party. We just before the elections, we said that Nitish Kumar will be our chief minister candidate. We fought elections with him. We got about 70 odd seats, 75 seats. He got only about 40 odd seats. Yet we stuck to our word and we made him the chief minister. No other party would have done that. Now, the fact that he decided to jump ship is not something new. You see, He has beaten all records of IRAMs and GAYARAMs. There has been no IRAM or GAYARAM in history of Indian politics which has had many IRAMs and GAYARAMs. But there has been no IRAM, GAYARAM who has switched party 4 times or 5 times. This fellow was with RJD, then he came to BJP, then he went back to RJD, then he came to BJP again, then he's gone back to RJD again, and he's gone back to a party which he has been designating as the most corrupt party in the country. He has been saying that this party was responsible for a huge period of darkness of 15 years in Bihar. That party has been responsible for holding
Can I ask you,
Bihar back.
when Nitish Kumar left the RJD in 2017 to join hands with the BJP, he had already dumped the BJP once back in 2013. So that reputation of IRAM, GAYARAM, as you said, was in a sense already established. You know, the fact that he was switching sides politically, that BJP still chose to ally with him.
And you know something really, the interesting thing is that at that time when he came to BJP, he announced in the assembly and he told Tejashwi that never, even if he dies, even if on his deathbed, he will not go and join RJD again. And look what he's done just 1.5 years after that. You see, at that time when the BJP gave him shelter when he moved away from RJD, at that time also within our party there were many voices which advised the leadership saying that we should not be taking him. But our leadership decided otherwise. And even before we contested this assembly elections, there were many voices in the party which said that we should go it alone and that there will be huge anti-incumbency against Nitish, he'll be a burden. But again, the party leadership decided to go with him. And he was a burden. There's a huge anti-incumbency. We gave him 115 seats. He won only 40 odd.
But it's important.
And if we had contested, we contested 100.
Are you saying the Bihar BJP leadership didn't want to go with Nitish and the central leadership overruled that? Were you amongst
Not the leadership. I'm not about the leadership. There are many. I'm not talking about the leadership. The leadership decided that they want to go with Nitish, but there are many in the party, including me, which who advised the leadership that I think we would be better off contesting alone. And but the leadership decided otherwise. And the thing is, we contested 100 odd seats. We won 77. We gave him 115 seats. He won 40. So he was a burden. And these 40 seats also he won. On the basis of our votes. If he contests alone, Nidhi, he won't get, I can give it to you in writing, he won't get more than 10 seats. Let him contest alone. I can give a guarantee that he'll not win more than 10 seats. He doesn't have the votes.
What you're saying
you
is
would
very
have seen the Nidhi.
Yeah.
I know.
Sorry,
and Nidhi, you remember the images on the television?
What you're saying is very significant because it shows the sort of difference in the way perhaps sections of the party of the BJP were looking at Nitish Kumar all this time.
Absolutely. We are a Democrat.
But then was he right in
We are a democratic party, so we have debates.
Sure, but he felt that he was being undermined. The speaker was always attacking him. Sections of the BJP were always, pointing their fingers at him. He felt that Chirag Paswan was fielded to undercut him and to undermine him by the BJP. Is there any truth in that?
No, not all. This is an excuse for somebody who is crossed floor 4 times, 5 times. I mean, what happened before this? Was the BJP undermining him that time? If the BJP wanted to undermine him, why would we declare him to be our chief ministerial candidate before the election? And why would we stick to our word after he got only 40 seats out of 115 and we got 77? We would have told him that you become deputy chief minister. We didn't do that. You see, basically, this is just a pretext. What happened was that some people turned his head, all his samsas around him. They would have told him that, look, you are prime ministerial material. Who else is a prime ministerial candidate? The point is that he should have realized that he heads a party which has just 40 odd seats in a house of 215, which has no presence outside of Bihar. And how can he dream to be a prime ministerial candidate? And this just shows the absolute the sort of lack of leadership in the opposition.
But,
and as far as the prime minister's post is concerned, that is not vacant.
Well, certainly from your perspective, that's true. But can I ask you, the other claim that Sushil Modi made, a sensational claim today, which was that the JDU actually approached the BJP and said that please make Nitish Kumar vice president. You guys run the government in Bihar, but let him become vice president. Can you elaborate on that? Are you saying that this is entirely driven by his ambitions to either be Prime Minister or Vice President?
Now there you are. You heard what Sushil Modi said. That just shows his, the desire for kursi. He's called Kursi Kumar also. The Lalu Prasad used to call him Paltu Kumar. That is part. But that just shows, what he's hankering after. He wants some post. He wanted the vice president. Just shows that. So that if ever there was an example of unprincipled politics, there is this, and he's beaten all records, let me tell you this. And he's gone and joined a party which he kept on abusing for 10, 15, 20 years as the most corrupt party in the country. He sort of gave material for prosecution of, he was one of those people who were gathering material for prosecution of Lalu Prasad in the forest scam. He was, he blamed Tejashwi for corruption, you remember, and asked him to explain. And this he does just after another scam has been unearthed, the recruitment scam in the railways, where Lalu Prasad, when he was railway minister, was selling jobs
how do you
for
see
money.
This? How do you see this development
this.
in the run-up to 2024 and the opposition's fight against Mr. Modi? Some people in the opposition believe that Nitish could be the sort of tall leader from the Hindi heartland who can bring the opposition together. What do you think?
Tall leader from Hindi heartland, who's who is ranked third. The number of seats which he has is the third. He's not even. He doesn't have the maximum seats in Bihar Assembly. He doesn't have any presence outside, and he emerging as a tall leader. You see, Nidhi, the blunt fact is that he was a burden on us. As I said, we gave him 115 seats, he lost all of them, he won only 40 odd. And he was, as many of us said, he was a burden, there was a huge anti-incumbency. Now this burden, the RJD has decided to take upon itself, so they are welcome to it. They'll give him, if they give him 50% of the seats, this fellow will, lose most of them, which we will win. And he'll again, if he gets 100 seats, he'll again win only 30, 40 and the remaining we shall win. So he's welcome to that. Even the 40 seats which he won was because of our votes, not because of his votes. If he contests alone, Nidhi, as a guarantee.
But if he contests in the Gathbandhan, are you saying the Gathbandhan is not a challenge? It is, isn't it?
If he contests in the Gathbandhan, then, just like last time, he'll probably get about 35-40 because of RJD votes. By himself, he would not get even more than 5.
So you at least consider that together with the RJD, it's a challenge.
If RJD, Nidhi, if RJD gives him anything more than 50 seats, then they are foolish.
All right. Quick last question. Is there any truth to some rumors that Home Minister Amit Shah called the RJD chief Lalu Yadav and asked him not to go ahead with this government formation in Bihar?
I don't have any idea at all. I think need to ask the Home Minister. I have absolutely no idea at all.
All right, R.K. Singh ji, thank you very much for joining us today on NDTV with the BJP's
Nidhi,
perspective.
I would discount what you said. You ask me, I would discount what you said, because here you have scam after scam being unearthed. This recruitment scam is the latest, and Lalu Prasad's right-hand man getting arrested for this jobs,
so unlikely that any such call would have gone.
Most unlikely.
All right. R.K. Singh, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you, Nidhi. Thank you.
Well, joining us on the program tonight, first, Derek O'Brien, leader of the Trinamool's parliamentary party in the Rajya Sabha. Derek, thanks very much for being with us. We've not seen any congratulations from Mamta Banerjee to Nitish Kumar yet. Why is that?
What time is it? It's just been a couple of hours. Everything doesn't have to be on Twitter or Facebook. How do you know she hasn't made a call or sent him a text message?
Has she?
I'm in Delhi. I'm not so well informed.
Yeah, but you know that
but I think the bigger picture here,
public sort of congratulations would send a signal about what her thoughts are. The fact that she's silent, and not just her, so is Arvind Kejriwal, so is KCR.
I'm not tracking people's Twitter accounts, but the bigger picture today, it's quite obvious. Lots of things have happened. We've got 20 months to go for the 2024 elections. Obviously, this has put the BJP on the back foot. And if you've noticed, we've only seen pictures of Mr. Sanjay Jaiswal and Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad on all the television channels and all the newspapers. Where are Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah? When something good happens for BJP, they jump in to take the credit. And when the hits the fan, then you put up Sanjay Jaiswal and Ravi Shankar Prasad. Anyway, good luck to them. But I think this makes a big difference because we've been saying, in fact, Mamata Banerjee made a significant statement. 2022 July 21st, hardly 3 weeks ago, she made a statement to about 25 lakh people from a rally in Calcutta, a Martyrs' Day rally, and she said, if I, and I quote, I mean loose quote, she said that if I understand politics and if I understand how people are feeling, Mr. Modi and the BJP will be voted out in 2024. They won't come close to 272 seats. She said this on the 21st of July. On the 2nd of August, if you were following the debates in Rajya Sabha, the JDU ripped into the Modi government on the 2nd of July. So I'm disappointed to read the media plants, not NDTV, but lots of the media saying, oh, the BJP didn't reach out to the JDU and they let them walk away. This is major omelette and egg on the face of Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah because they didn't know this was coming.
But how does Nitish Kumar's exit from that alliance and, you know, with the Mahagathbandhan in Bihar, does it strengthen the opposition ranks? Derek O'Brien, honestly, does he emerge as a possible leader of a united opposition? You know, especially given he's from a chief minister of a Hindi heartland state.
I think there's a bigger job at hand. Not looking for prime minister candidates. The bigger job at hand is states winning their own states. Telangana have to defeat BJP in Telangana. We are confident we'll do it in Bengal. We'll bring BJP down to a couple of seats, 2, 3, 4 seats maximum. DMK, Mr. Stalin will do the same. The Bihar, Mr. Yadav and Mr. Kumar will do the same. So once you start getting this together, then you have a number which is a serious number. And then I'm not counting Mr. Naveen Patnaik and the Biju Janata Dal in this, because it's very obvious from whatever they do in parliament, they are a BJP ally. The NDA is down to BJP and Mr. Biju Patnaik's BJD, and they will not stand up to be counted. But let's take you to the Rajya Sabha, for example. Suddenly, because of the development, and I'll answer your question on the Prime Minister. Listen, Mamata Banerjee, I'm not getting into 7-time MP, 4-time minister, 3-time chief minister, leave that aside. She herself has said, I want to play the role of a squirrel in the garden. And here I am in a garden and the squirrel will do all the dirty work, no problem. So that's the attitude of Mamata Banerjee. Mamata Banerjee is clear. She wants the bigoted BJP to be thrown out of power, the divisive BJP to be thrown out of power. I want to make another point, Nidhi, if I may.
Wait, no, coming back to the squirrel in the garden.
In the Rajya Sabha.
The squirrel in the garden means what? That she doesn't have prime ministerial ambitions? Because that's what everybody says. You're supposed to say. Nobody is going to say, I want to be prime minister.
No.
But
no.
who do you think is best
understand.
placed to lead? Who is the best person placed to take on Narendra Modi? Because you know it's as much a personality battle as it is about issues.
I will tell you who is the best placed. I will tell you who is the best placed. In Telangana, it's Mr. KCR is the best place to smash the BJP. In a couple of states like Bengal, Mamata Banerjee is the best face. In Bihar, it is Mr. Nitish Kumar and Tejashwi Yadav who are the best placed. And Mr. Stalin is the best place in Tamil Nadu. In Uttar Pradesh, it's got to be Akhilesh Yadav and some of us who have to gather around him to do that. And the Congress themselves, the Congress have a responsibility. They've got to win Rajasthan. There's no vote splitting in Rajasthan. The Congress have to win Karnataka.
But who's the national face?
The AAP have to do.
The BJP will argue that nationally there's only Narendra Modi and the opposition has too many claimants to the prime ministerial post.
I think that itself is a disadvantage. And see, in 2014, you sold us the Narendra Modi face because you sold hope. In 2019, again you sold us the Modi face, you sold dreams. And in 2024, the hopes have been belied, the dreams have turned into nightmare, but BJP suddenly have a problem in the Rajya Sabha now. The Rajya Sabha is on a knife's edge. I'm willing to concede that the Biju Janata Dal will support the BJP through thick and thin. Even if that happens, the Rajya Sabha numbers now are less than 10. The difference is less than 10. 10 this way or 10 that way. So my prediction is, in the next couple of weeks, the BJP will nominate 3 nominated members to the Rajya Sabha, 1, 2, 3. They'll get those 3 votes. They will quickly fill the 5 vacant seats. And they also have to so it's going to be very close in Rajya Sabha. And this is where the YSR and Mr. Jagan Reddy have to stand up to be counted. If they want a tolerant...
You haven't given up on Jagan Reddy yet. You've given up on Naveen Patnaik.
We made our position so clear. And now, coming back to the Rajya Sabha, I really want to know what's going to happen to the deputy chairman of the Rajya Sabha. The speaker, the BJP have not even appointed a deputy speaker. Mr. Modi hasn't answered a single question. Mr. Naidu is retiring today. Poor Mr. Naidu. He couldn't get Mr. Modi to answer one question on the floor of Parliament.
But Derek O'Brien, I'm going to ask you
in the
again.
Rajya Sabha,
There is, no, and it's not. I'm not kidding about this. It's so glaring that leaders like Mamta and Arvind Kejriwal are absolutely quiet. Haven't congratulated Nitish Kumar also till now. Maybe that changes in the next few hours. I don't know. But does that indicate that there is going to be a fight on the cards within the opposition ranks as to who leads the opposition if it is able to unite in 2024?
Not at all. I can tell you who will lead this fight.
Who?
This fight will not be led by Mamta Banerjee or Arvind Kejriwal or Nitish Kumar or any of the names you're suggesting. The fight will be led, no, I'm not going to say the people. I'm going to say the fight will be led by India. The India who has realized that this Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah, the unemployment numbers are down by 3 or 4% in 1 week. The India which will decide that why is the dollar, when inflation is still at 7%, why is the rupee losing against the dollar? The India will decide where I can go, what I can eat, and I want that freedom of, that's the India I know. Don't worry about post 2024. Remember what Mamta Banerjee said on the 21st of July.
By the way, Derek, I just want to
Mr.
point
Modi
out,
and Mr.
I just looking at this link that, recently the Home Minister has actually said, since you talked about Naveen Patnaik, that the BJP is going to form a government in Orissa with Mr. Modi at the center in 2024. So you think that Naveen Patnaik's heard that and, might change his mind?
I would not like to make any comments on that. I've made my political statement on the Biju Janata Dal, and I'm not a political commentator. But what I am certainly here to say, I think the aggregate of all the state results will decide 2024. Okay. 20 months is a long time in politics. The BJP and the Modi government are in trouble in one of the 2 houses in Parliament. This is the first time they've been in trouble. They didn't want to run Parliament. I charge them. They cut Parliament short by 4 days because they did not want to answer the questions on employment. They knew perhaps about this
what you
Bihar.
Say, a state-by-state fight, and that is how the opposition may be approaching it for the moment. Let's see how that further develops in the coming months. Thanks very much, Derek O'Brien, for joining us. I have to leave it there at the moment.